to predictions for the year 2021. And this is part of Metaphysical Communion, our weekly program. Thank you for being here, first of all. And my name is DeAngelis Colon. I am the host of Metaphysical Communion program running since April 1st of 2019. Originally, set to help people get through the coronavirus, scare and to offer support, encouragement, some interesting information to all of you. And it's grown into a bit more than that. We are a weekly program that talks about things of the spiritual nature, metaphysical, obviously that's the title for the program, and touching upon other interesting subjects that deal with the paranormal, the psychic, spirit communications, etc. Anyway, for tonight, this is the first program of the new year, and I wanted to do one on predictions for the next few months as we see things, twisting and turning a great deal. And we started the year on a very, pretty positive note, despite all of the tremendous chaos that we've been undergoing in the past 10 months. However, the energies were set pretty good, for a good, auspicious beginning. The planets had come into a wonderful alignment. I've spoken about that many, many times in the last few weeks about the planets and the change astrologically that has been set and promoting a lighter, easier energy for us to be living under for the next few months. It doesn't mean that it's going to be very, very easy either. As with all change, things sometimes get a bit rough, a bit difficult from time to time. We've certainly been seeing that already in the last few days. Since this is the first week of January, basically, we've already seen a tremendous amount of tumultuous expression, to put it very nicely, especially coming in the United States from the state of Washington and our government, and the recent upheavals that has taken place there in the Capitol and the entire experience there of January the 6th. And we saw, all of the tremendous experience that has happened, there. That is an example of what change brings. It's not easy. It doesn't mean that it's just going to slide in lovely for everyone. And as we saw, we saw that there was a lot of cross currents of ideologies and belief systems clashing. And we saw a culmination point, or one culmination point there just a few days ago, and ramifications that have come from that since. And of course, there's much more that's developing and much more to come from that. This month will be crucial because we do, have, at least in the United States, once again, a changeover of the government, a new president. That is part of the change, that's taking place. And there are some positives there, but I do sense also there's going to be several more interesting experiences, as I like to say it, to be polite, coming up ahead. So we haven't seen the last, of, let's say, tumultuous experiences, difficulties. There's more on the way. So everybody keep your eyes wide open. Get ready. We're going to get into a little bit more difficulty here and there for the next few days. So you will see. And on January 20th, we do get that big changeover, but expect something fascinating to happen close to there or on the same date. This is not really even something that you have to be psychic to know. We can just see and anticipate that something is looming just from the previous experiences here in the last few weeks and in the last few days especially. So it's not the end. There is more to come. So everybody needs to be on high alert, for this. Not to be frightening, but it's just there in the elements, in the air. I sense it. I feel it. I feel in the last few weeks an energy certainly of change. Ultimately, it will be an improvement, for all of us. But in the meantime, as we're undergoing that experience, there's some difficulty in the air. Already I sense a toxicity in the atmosphere, and it's certainly been affecting me in a state of tension, headaches, which I'm not prone to, but have come, to be. Sleep at times has been a bit erratic, and interesting experiences in the dream state, also that indicate problems and difficulties, there personally, but also socially, also as well. And certain symbols that have happened, certain things that are coming about, things that deal with professional work, um, with groups of people. We see an element of distrust, things that are changing that are not to our liking, secrets, of course. I've been getting a lot of symbols in that area, also a lot of the unknown, also. So for me, to a certain degree, I have not been able to pinpoint exactly what is to come yet. I did know that something was going to loom, certainly, around the time of, let's say, the Electoral College, vote. I know something was pending, and they had reported that anyway already. Also, there was going to be some sort of a protest. Of course, but like all of you, I didn't get a sense that it was going to be to that magnitude of difficulty. Certainly where they were going to actually breach, the Capitol building and actually get in there and break things apart. And that so many people would come in, there to protest, in that way, also. So that was even impressive, to me, to see that go under attack to that extent. So that was certainly, a change in the atmosphere, change in the energies. We've sensed it, we still feel it in the air. Also a lot of fear, but a lot of erratic movement and the vibrations, also as we're speaking spiritually, there's a dissension in the atmosphere, a tension in reality, a lot of kinetic movement, like the molecules have sped up tremendously and a bit out of control. So that is still elements that are there. So there's more to come. So just be aware. Do not be surprised by what's coming up next. I get a sense of at least 2 or 3 more incidents, coming up within the next 2 weeks. 2 of them will be more minor, but will be noteworthy because it'll get into the media, etc. One more major one is coming. To what degree, I can't really say exactly, but something else is surfacing. I've been feeling something tremendous for the last, let's say, almost 2 months, that something was going to show up. Since, let's say, November, so beginning of November, and especially here in the United States, especially where we're focusing at this point, because there's so much change happening now here in this country. It's pivotal, which affects the rest of the world. So that's why my focus and my eye, my psychic vision, is really here domestically, speaking, because I can sense there's more, that's looming and more to come. So just be, braced, for that, also. Things will start to settle more towards the end of February to early March, I feel. Once the dust, dissipates and people get used to things and accept, things in one way or another, that's when we'll start to feel the first sense of relief. Let's put it that way. And then things will progress, from there. So that's basically as part of the first prediction that I have for you. Our second prediction obviously will be our other main concern, which is the coronavirus pandemic. Here I get a much more positive sense of things. As we know, the vaccine is underway and should be taking off even more so in the next 2 weeks. I feel by the beginning of February is when things would really start to take off more heavily, there, where many more people will start to get vaccinated and are going to be able to become vaccinated. Things will be really put into place very rapidly, there. My sense of the vaccines are that this will indeed work. Side effects or whatever, minor. We're going into the second phase for many people now, so this is critical at this point. The second, injection, just to see how things really turn out here. So far, I get a positive vibration, from this. There'll be a great clearing. This should be and will be helpful, to us. There will be continuation of work in improving this vaccine more and more rapidly, also. So people will get a sense more of relief and confidence that this vaccine indeed, will start to work for us. It will take time to get things back to a more normalized state, at least here in the United States and the rest of the world. But the vaccines here in the United States seem to be solid and stable. They need improvement. I have a strong feeling for that, but they are much better than what people, first believed and anticipated. So I do feel here that the news media, which is the way that we find out about these things, is not, exaggerating things here. They are really staying close upon the most accurate information. I feel it very strongly, just from my own sense of things. I get a very positive sense. And spiritually speaking, and the spirits do let me know, I feel, that there will be more peace, coming with this. We'll be getting more tranquilized. There'll be a reduction of our stress as things start to change for the better. Right now, we're in a major crisis here, as you know, in the West Coast. The numbers are astronomical of people with the virus, and unfortunately, the incredible deaths that are happening. And more so than even here in New York in the spring. It's come to that. And they're under emergency and the great crisis, they're in the West Coast or in other regions, here. So we have to focus and concentrate our energies, on them. They have to get that virus really into that area of the country to start seeing significant change. I feel in 1 month's time, we will see that change, that positive improvement come about, and less people will start to come down with this virus, and more people will start to be released from hospital, and well. And right now we do have a tremendous amount of people, unfortunately, passing, from this. And the hospitals, of course, as we know, are overwhelmed. And the workers are overwhelmed. In the West Coast, they need more assistance. More has to come. It's just overwhelming, the numbers. But I do sense a change in 1 month from now. Around the second week of February, we're going to see the first change, the first improvement, where those numbers will start to come down. And the virus was less and less people start to be contracting that virus as well. The strains and mutations for that will be under control, also luckily from there. I do get a sense that a new virus, a vaccine is coming, also in the next few weeks. So there will be certainly either a new vaccine or an improvement to the vaccine that's already available. Will be shortly, on its way. They have not announced anything like that yet because they don't want to speak ahead of time. I get a sense of that, also, and I'm just receiving even more information as I'm speaking to you right now at this moment, also. So by the second, third week of February, we're going to see an improvement in the vaccine itself in one form or another. So stay tuned, for that information as well. So those are two major items right now that we have concerns with in the world, obviously, here. But I do feel that once again, and I will stand by my original prediction, since the fall, and once again, this situation will really start to take a change for the better in the spring of this year. By March, we'll see again the first real major sign of improvement. Next month has to do with the vaccine itself more than anything else, and the lowering of the numbers. But in March, give it 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to see a real first break that things are starting to improve. By May of this year, which should be vastly improved. We'll be able to be more relaxed. We'll be able to see greater improvement, people not getting so sick, more freedoms, coming back to us in regard to being able to go out more and not be afraid of contracting this virus so easily, at least here in this country. In the rest of the world, I feel as things go well, there should be a similar experience also. Right now in England, they're in lockdown. And in parts of Europe, that too will start to recover, as well. Give that between May to June, there in Europe. But here, by May or so, it will change quite well. And we will see really first signs that things will start to gradually come back to normal. It will not be just in a few months or it's going to take quite a while. So this year will be more about the beginnings of recuperation, from this experience. Really, we won't be more back to, let's say, normal, even though it's not a term I like to use, but for these circumstances, more to the way we were before the virus came in. More towards the end of this year, early next year is where we'll see vast improvement there, where things will start really trickling more into more normalcy. So for the year 2022, the 3 twos, that's when we'll see things really start to go into more of a, we're coming back, finally, and we can not feel so afraid of going out and contracting disease. We'll be able to connect more with people, with one another. Also, the mask situation will start to minimize greatly, by that time as well. 2021, we still have to be very careful. We have to be mindful. So we will have our masks still. We have to do our washing of our hands, of course. We will have the proper hygiene that we need to have for the time being, but it will be less of a strain, less tension associated with it as we see things improving, getting better for everyone in one form and another. So something to look forward, to there. In regards to other areas of things in society, in the world, etc., my attention has been placed on the stock market for some reason. Now, mind you, I don't know anything really about the stock market. It's not something that I follow. I'm not a business oriented type of person. I never have been. Those things have been like some sort of foreign object, to me, in regards to things of finances and money and stocks and bonds and other things that deal with the insurance things and whatever, and all those things. Those are things that are rather foreign, for me. It's not in my area. I've learned some things out of necessity, because of work, obviously, and banks and accounts and things of that nature or so, health insurance things, etc., policies, because out of necessity or so, but it's not my area of expertise. And so it's not something that I really discuss very often or so, because I just don't have the knowledge for it. I'm not around people that do that. But for some reason, once again, I've been drawn to be aware of the stock market to a certain degree. And from what spirit, inspires me is we will see more stabilization coming about in the next few months, with that. It'll be still a bit, tumultuous there. There's some ups and some downs will be taking place also. So not to be majorly alarmed in the next few months. We're not going to see that things are suddenly going to improve gloriously just because the United States has a new president and a new vice president and different government, and people feel more confident about it. In personally, yes. Society-wise, yes. In regards to things like the stock market and business or so, not necessarily so. It may appear to be some form of stabilization, but there will be some moments that'll be a bit rocky, let's say, there at the start. So when you see ups and then when you see some major downs, also as well, similar to what we've experienced in the last few years to a certain degree. We're going to see a little bit more of that for the first half of this year or so, a half and a little bit over, let's put it that way, but not to the severity that we've seen it, let's say, a year, 2 years, prior. Things will start to stabilize more from there. The NASDAQ, index will also start to stabilize. It's going to be fluctuating a bit also. I know nothing about these things. I'm just telling you as I get a sense of it. But then that will also start to stabilize. It will show more confidence as well. And the stock market situation will start to show more confidence, for those, for everyone, actually. And we will get a sense of greater comfort, stability, as we see that taking place. Numbers will not be rising super, super high immediately, but at least we don't have to feel we're going to be in a state of panic. We're certainly not going to go into a depression. We're not going to go either into a great recession, especially, which we've already been under, but it shouldn't be going into it worse. It should be stabilizing and then gradually starting to improve on that regard. Things dealing with cryptocurrency, that will remain as it is. Again, I don't know really very much about those things or so, but there'll be more focus in those areas. That'll also show signs of improvement, also, and stability, for lack of a better way of saying it, as well as I can interpret or feel about it as well. So that's taking place there. But money will be something that we'll feel more secure about in the next 8 to 9 months. There shall be slight improvements happening there as well. By 2022, 2023 is when we see more significant change for the better in those areas. And more people will be going back to work again. There will be new businesses and new industries taking place. Things that rise actually from this pandemic, also in other ways. So we've lost things here that we had for so long due to the coronavirus. Those businesses or so were no longer viable, sustainable, and they went out. But we will have other things taking their place. We will have new ventures, new ways of conducting business or so, as well, they'll be taking over. It'll be a new, fresh, almost like frontier in the area of business, small business owners as well, selling things in a different way, being more innovative, more genius. Technology will work hand in hand with this. So we're going to have an uprising in technical aspects that will relate to small business, that will work very well as an offshoot of needs from the pandemic and what people feel that they need more of at this time. We don't rely so much on things of the past anymore like we did before. Those things have become irrelevant to a great degree. Some are passé also, for lack of a better way of saying it. But there'll be new interests that come from this. We've learned so much. Society has changed because of this experience. We've gone, in a way, back to basics, number one, and what really matters, which is a very strong positive. Luckily, it's something that needed to happen. We're more grounded in a way, at least many of us are, more down to earth, more valuing things that dealt with the past and of tradition, which is actually a good thing, also. And we see the value of those things from before. We've learned to be more ingenious, or more creative, also more self-reliant. We see that we can do with a lot of things that we were getting used to and spoiled about, which are really not really so necessary in order for us to survive. And we see that we can, strive and improve, not having so much and striving on less and not on so many, things that we were overindulged with, either. We've learned to go back to basics in many different ways. From a personal point of view, I've learned how to cook more once again, for instance, in the last few weeks. And in fact, I've been learning how to cook, period. Many things that I never did before, out of the fact that I didn't want to spend more money than was necessary. I wanted to do things that were healthier, also for myself and for my mother. Mother is not able to really cook as she did in the past. She's, up there in her, her age at this point. Doesn't have the same ability or stamina to be doing things of that nature. So it's up to me, to take over, to do that. And we like to eat healthy. We like to eat natural and fresh. And we don't like to rely on takeout, too much, or certainly eating junk food on a regular basis. That's never been our thing. We've never lived by that. So at this point, I've taken up the mantle of becoming the cook and learning new things and seeing that, following recipes or so, and I actually have a talent for it. I'm pretty good at it, to a great degree, doing things I've never done before, and things have turned out well, which is actually stunning to me. So, and more to come. I'll be learning more and more to do that. It's about nutrition and health and well-being for both of us here in our microcosm here. So that's something that, from the pandemic, and again, because of mother as well, I've learned, to rely and to do more for myself and to do that aspect, and I'm enjoying it, as well. I look forward to doing more, in that area. So that's one thing that the pandemic in part has pushed me to learn to do. So other people in other ways have also learned to do other things that they never thought they did or always wanted to, and now is the time to do it because they had the time to do it. They were home more for whatever reasons, and they were able to experience and explore and do those things. And we've learned that we have a lot of ability and talent and creativity within us, and that will continue. We're going to be more reliant on ourselves and our own ambition, our own way of doing things, without relying on other things, on all the modernities that the world has to offer and the expense that comes along with it as well. So whether you have the money or not, it's just learning to be more creative, expanding yourself as a person, as a personality also. That it will continue. If you want to call it a trend, so be it. But that is something that many people will continue. They've enjoyed doing things more. They've learned to do things more on themselves. They don't have to rely on other resources to help them do it or to do it for them. And it's a rebirth, of ingenuity, of the mind. And we're going to see more and more people doing that, on their own, starting their own businesses even, doing businesses that are different in another way and being successful at it, because there'll be a call and a need for those things also. People will be wanting to go and purchase, those products or those items or that help or whatever, because they feel that they can help themselves with it. It's more about self-help. It's more about focusing on you and not being so dependent on others or other things. So that is a long-term trend that will be coming, especially we're going to see that open up and broaden more for 2021 and beyond. As the virus gets less and less of a threat and people start to come together once again, that will be one of the grander experiences that we will really have to look forward to later on in 2021, where people will be able to connect once again, will be able hopefully to embrace one another. It will be a wonderful and glorious time. I do see that happening. Parts of it will begin this year, but more for 2022, 2023, where we will come back again. And we will be able to embrace each other once again. It'll be like a tremendous reunion. It's almost like equating it to when we leave this world and we go to the next. And we reunite with those who are in the spirit world who left us long ago or a short period of time before. And we get to see them again where we thought, many of us thought, that we would never see them again. And maybe we would never even exist either again once we leave this world. And when we get there, we do see it, and we know that we are we're alive, just different elsewhere. And then we get to be reunited with all those loved ones once again. The incredible amount of joy and happiness, which is, you can't even express it. There's no words for it. I kind of like equate it, to that. I don't think it'll be as spectacular as that, at least for some people it may be, but it will be akin to that type of experience, that type of joy and happiness. And hopefully we will all learn to really appreciate ourselves and one another like we never did before, or those from long, long time ago you used to. The modern world has its positives, but it also has its negatives as well. And we get to appreciate loved ones, acquaintances, work, co-workers, family, friends, whatever, like we didn't before, because we'll be able to come together once again and share experiences and live together and go out together and eat together and take trips and vacations and just play, with our grandchildren, our children, people that we haven't seen for a long time, will become reunited once again. And that is coming, I assure you, that is coming. As I speak about all of this, I always look back a few months ago when Queen Elizabeth delivered her speech at the beginning of this pandemic, and her words, which always rang so strongly. And I think a lot of people also were very touched by it as well, when she said, we will see each other again. And that was so significant and so very touching and so very lovely. And it took Queen Elizabeth, a person, not just because she is the Queen of England, the Queen of Britain, but because this is a lady who is 93 years old, 93, 94 at this time. And she lived through so much. She lived really most of the 20th century. There are many people also who are still here with us and who are older even, who have. And she's been through a lot. And she lived through World War II. She was in the army. She, saw a lot of the suffering, the pain, the fear. She's known many other people. She's seen a lot of heartbreak, a lot of tragedies throughout the world, history. And to have someone who has had all of those experiences deliver a message of hope in that way has meaning and is significant. And we know that when someone like that speaks and they know where they're coming from, we can take their words to heart. And we know we take encouragement and hope from that and comfort that indeed that will be so. We will see each other again. That we look forward to. In other areas, of the future or so, yes, I do see that people gradually will be starting to become more employed once again. The pandemic will come to a close. And as that happens and as safety returns to places and people can commune once again, be together once again, and be able to work amongst each other once again, jobs will start to open in new ways, in new forms. We will see all of this happen, and it will be. And the economy will start to improve, not just in this country, but throughout the world, step by step by step. There will be new ways of working. There will be new forms of education. There will be new opportunities taking place. There will be more affordability in advancing. Companies will be working on advancing people, assisting people to advance and flourish in ways that they never thought or dreamed were possible before. We will see this take place. There's the opportunity for a lot of new things to take place in this new era that has just opened up for us. We just have to stay tight, make sure that people stay the course, work in the light, work in the positive. It will happen, it will take place. Those who work in the negative or so, we have to deal with them. They will not overcome. They will not vanquish the good. Those who wish to cause harm, in whatever shape or form they may believe or think, but cause negativity and cause harm, will not overcome the world. Things will be put at a stop. Things will be put in place. We will improve and things will get better for all of us. In other areas or so, we're going to see a surplus of food is starting to happen. It will take a bit time as well, but we will have food restored and the hungry will not be going so hungry anymore. There will be more help than ever before. That will be because of altruism. This will develop a stronger sense of help one another, of altruism will be taking place greater than ever before. And once we are safe to be able to do that, we will not forget those in need. There will be more help available for those who are in need. More and more people will become more altruistic, volunteer more than ever before. They will flourish and expand, and they will help others. We will have a brotherhood coming up like we haven't seen in decades to help those who are in need come back and stand on their 2 feet in all different areas, from the very wealthy to those who don't have so much. But more will be helping along the way. You will see this take place also. We have a lot of good, on its way. In regards to negative things or so, I have a sense, moving away from the United States, we must keep an eye on the country of Ethiopia, for things there are in a great state of chaos. And unfortunately, I see that more is developing there, where there will be more of concern and great worry, and they will not be able to hide what they attempt to be doing. We have to keep a focus on them, and we must put all the good intentions and vibrations and all the prayers that we can for that country, for they need great help. They are in a great state of trouble, there, and it wants to increase and escalate. I only hope that as things improve out here, they can focus, in that area and be of assistance and offer whatever they need to diffuse that situation there in Ethiopia, especially because things are not heading in a very good direction at all there. So they need a lot of our light, our energy, our intention to focus and put the end to that tyranny that wishes to flourish more and more there. So we must, put out as much energy there as possible in that area of things. I see that for the country of Australia, also, things, again, it will take more time. They need to recover more. And they will. They're very strong people. They're putting a lot in place as best as they can. They need good intentions also to recover still from the tremendous fires that took place and restore things as needed. They are a resilient country. They are not a country of complainers. They like to do things on their own. They like to take care of things on their own. They are very responsible. It's just that they need more assistance. And that too, shall start to happen and take place. But they will overcome. They're working very, very hard, and there are many, many working very hard on restoring, especially the ecosystems of their country and the financial situations there. Also, they're being very innovative there. They're crashing down. There may be some difficulties here and there with some arguments and disagreements that may be stagnating things to a certain degree. Also, we have some stubborn parties there that are not really wanting to relent and work together, as I suddenly see this. But eventually they will overcome. They will have to settle for the sake of the good of all. And they too will start to come back, as well, and restore to what they were and beyond once again. This particular decade is the decade of the future. This is a decade where things will start to advance tremendously. This pandemic situation has forced that evolution of technology, of advancement, of improvement to essentially quicken, to speed up out of necessity. And that has spurred an impetus of having to focus on doing more rapidly, but with quality. And that's going at an exponential rate. And it is being done, and it can be done. Those who felt that it could not, or it was not possible, will see what seemed to be the impossible start to happen, and it will be possible. We must give into our minds. Our minds are vast, far stronger than most people realize. We have to close in on that, make the effort. It's been done in the past before, and wonders have taken place. This is the start of the age of wonders, once again, very, very minutely, very, very slowly, in bits and pieces. It will take a few years more, but then we're going to start to get into that. And those who can and those who want to will push and will move forward and will persevere and will not give up and will not lose hope. And we will see tremendous advances in all aspects of the world, technology, science, industry. We'll start to push and move forward in ways out of necessity. Once again, this pandemic has cost the planet greatly. Now they're going to have to start to restore, but also get on track. And wonders will happen. We'll be light years ahead of things in a way that we never thought possible. Things are moving rapidly and quickly. I'm also being told we must look to the skies as well, for there's many things that are not being told to us, also from other countries as well, from other concerns and worries. Eventually that'll come to place in regards to politics, governments or so, situations. They think they're protecting us as well. To a degree they are, but they also don't want to cause great fear, also. But the world needs to become more transparent. People need to become more open. And those in those areas of responsibility or so for society will have to learn and have to break. And will have to become more open and transparent, whether they like it or not. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to have to speak up and speak out and not keep things so contained. That is starting to happen. The configurations are happening and have been for quite some time. That is why we have all these truths being revealed, all these things coming out, people acting erratically and insanely to great degrees because it just cannot be held in anymore. They are compelled against their own, state of being and mind, to just come forth. And we're seeing it. There'll be a change in people's behaviors, whether they like it or not. There will be more of a sense of civilization taking place in this world, where upheavals and savagery will no longer be tolerated to the same way it was decades ago. There will be more of a sense of civility and more of a sense of mind and logic taking place. If we want to survive, that is how we need to be. We will see more of that in the coming years. It is well needed. It was as it was decades ago, centuries ago to a great degree. They just didn't have the modernization, the awareness, the knowledge, the technology that we have now. Things will start to come together. We will see an evolution of humanity taking place. There'll be more a sense of dignity, cooperation, logic, common sense, and that of the mind. That is ahead for this decade that is to come. We are still a young new decade. Lots of change has really taken place. Much more to come. In a way, this particular decade has been like a throwback to the 1960s of the 20th century, where we needed to push and break through certain things that were holding us back, certain things that were no longer relevant. It's been a hard road, since then. A lot has taken place. And then just especially in the last 5 or 6 years or so, we see that major upheaval from the second decade going into now the third decade, here of this new era. The 21st century will teach us great things, and it has already. There's more to come. Whether this is the worst of it, I don't really get a sense that there's more to come. As I said, it's a new century still. Much more to come. But at least there's a spark, and things are on its way. In regards, to personal things or so, we're going to see people really start to embrace things of the past, ways of being of the past, but bringing it into a new way of thinking. Modernization. We're going to bring the things of the past that were positive with the things of the future that are of the positive. And finally, for the first time, it's going to start to make sense. And it's going to start to click. Be mindful, there are still those out there who wish to be destructive or so. We will deal with them as time comes. We must remember there's a strong negative influence in this world at this time still, which is still threatening to cause destruction and harm. We've seen the chaos and experiences unfolding just in the last year alone. We see how people have been behaving, and in a sense, in the name of freedom, have also brought a lot of negativity and savagery, with them as well into this world. The chaotic negative energy is still there and is still desperately trying to survive. It has failed its attempts in the last few years, and just very, very recently, it has failed its attempt at trying to begin to want to take over the world. But again, has been thwarted. But it's still not over yet. I can feel that energy still bristling and crackling all around. And it's going to still to try to cause more havoc and influence more people to do its bidding, even though they have no knowledge or awareness of what this is whatsoever. It is like a virus in a way that's overtaken many people. And in many different ways, not just politically, but in other ways, in society, in ways of thinking, way of speaking, in way of being, also in different areas of things. It's been an unleashing and coming out of this toxicity, but it's caused a lot of harm, and it's caused a lot of deaths, also. That is still in the air. It's still lurking. Be aware. We must galvanize ourselves, be strong, and we must overcome this. We must not let this influence get the best of us or even affect us in any way whatsoever. We have to be more alert, more aware than ever before. First signs of trouble, we have to get a sense and know what this is and why this is in order for that influence to break, from us. And start, as Spike Lee likes to say, do the right thing. That is what we have to be aware of. So that energy is still around, it's still there. Be mindful, be alert, and just pray. Focus on the positive. Focus on what is decent and right and moral and good. Focus on being conscientious. Focus on having manners. Focus on education. Focus on just being decent, mindful, logical, polite, things that have seemed to be forgotten. Focus on all of those positive elements. Elements that are really not even supposed to be elements. They're just supposed to be. Just be. Be good. Be in the light. Be in what is right. Be in reality. That will assist in getting us through all of this. Be mindful with others. Don't start speaking ahead of time. Don't start hating others because of their actions or behaviors immediately. Think before you speak. Think before you feel even. See, why is it that this is happening? Why are these people behaving this way or doing these things? What could be going on there? What could have made them to be this way? Try to see and grasp an understanding. That will help tremendously in diffusing many negative elements and many negative things. It's not easy, but it is the way. That is a major message for you to hear. In other areas, we're going to see many more people passing away. We've had a lot of deaths in the last few weeks, as you've seen. Every day I see 5, 6 or more people dying. Celebrities, famous people, people of note, people that are surrounding us, they're all leaving. It is a big change, a big transition period we are under right now. Their time has come. They are leaving. They've done their work. They've accomplished what they needed to accomplish. Some of them may not feel that they accomplished, but for the time being, they did. And they're going and they're leaving us. This is all part of this big cycle of new experience and new change. The ones that are left behind, we have to take up and do what we need to do. Our time is not up yet. We have more of our destiny to fulfill. There is a reason. But we must do it right. And we must do it positive. And we must strengthen ourselves more than ever before. We have to come back to ourselves if necessary and do what we need to do. Be responsible. Be right. Take charge and help this world heal and do what it needs to do so we can get things right once again, or at least in that direction. So get ready, more change and more transition is on its way for us. We shall see things we've never dreamed we'd seen before, but in a positive way, not so much in a negative anymore. Yes, we're going to see some negative things we never thought we'd see, or maybe thought about but didn't think would happen, as we've just seen recently in Washington a few days ago. More to come. And we'll need to see that more. Keep your eyes open. Again, I must repeat from what I said earlier, we must keep our eyes to the sky, for things are happening in the heavens that we have to be mindful of. They're not going to tell us everything either, but there are certain things coming at us that we have to be aware of, and hopefully they are putting things in place to keep the world safe. I don't want to elaborate too much more. I don't want to instill fear or go off into an area of the fantastical or things people think is what's blah, blah, blah. Not at all. It's just that we are getting to know the universe more and more. And we're seeing things more and more. More is being revealed to the general public than we have in the last decade or more. We're learning more. We're learning that the universe, the cosmos, is much more active closer to the earth than we were led to believe. That was just to quell our fears and our worries. But we're reaching an age that we are now able to comprehend and accept things, greater things, bigger things, and not fly into a panic. Those truths are coming out. It is important for us to know and to learn. The cosmos is much more active, but things are taking place, and we will learn just how this planet has been, taking care of us with not much of our knowledge. That truth is going to start to reveal more and more. More is coming out, more is being revealed. And we will learn that we are not alone in this universe. I'm sure that by the end of this decade, something will be, and we'll make that connection finally. And we will have what is known in the public as first contact. More on that on another time. But that is something to look forward to again. So, to conclude, we have some more problems and difficulties to face, but it's going to help us open our minds, see what's important, bring people back to where they need to be in their heart, not just in their mind. The essence of greed and vanity and ego will start to lessen. For those who do not learn that, they will meet their fate. There are those who still refuse to learn and will still want to cause problems and troubles. That'll start to backfire eventually on them. What we have to do, we have to be mindful of them and not let them get the best of us. There will be a breakdown in that gradually, step by step. It will take time. But it's a coming together, communing more with one another. We'll be working to help each other more and more than ever before. Those are good things to look forward to. It's about taking care of the planet as well. And these first steps are on their way. Much more to come. But we will see the planet also start to improve as well. And we want to keep this planet going a while longer. before we start to go off into the new frontier beyond this world, which will happen in this century. Wonders will unfold, and we'll be starting to span the cosmos bit by bit. So, wonderful cosmic news to end, our note on. I hope that you found this enlightening and helpful. Spirit has provided a lot of this information. My own senses and empathy has also been into play here with this. And we'll touch upon these subjects again in future programs as well. So I wish all of you a blessed new year. Focus, concentrate, do good, do right, have no fear, be confident, be awake. More is to come. Do everything you can to help yourselves and each other. And we'll get through this year. I'm not going to say there's going to be happy, happy, joy, joy. There's going to be really major, major improvements of happiness and goodness. No. But it will come, and we're going to get there for sure. So on that note, I leave you. Blessings to you all. Good night. And I'll see you again next week. Take care. Bye-bye.